A pleasant morning to all. Today I am going to present 3 journal articles that are relevant with my course. The titles are Architectural Graphics and the Experience of Space, Freehand Drawing and Photograph to Deepen on Communicative Qualities in Linear Perspective. Then we have Natural and Artificial Lighting Analysis in a Classroom of Technical Drawing, Measurements, and HDR Image Use. And then the third is analysis of interaction function of modern graphic design based on technical aided design. So these are the articles. We have 1, 2, and 3. The first article is about architectural graphics and the experience of space. The author of this article is Vicente Lopez Chao and Maria Rodriguez Grella. So we have here the abstract. Architecture communication on photo sharing social networking services like Instagram focuses on photorealism. Meanwhile, the conceptual intention or the experience of the architectural space has less impact in this media. Some architectural graphics techniques are closer to this purpose due to their nature. The main objective is to identify the visual qualities of the architectural space experience from a linear perspective. To do this, the research proposes the design of a visual pattern recognition tool and applies it to pairs of images, photography, and drawing from the same place. The results provide a strategy design based on 5 variables: the level of human presence, the distortion of perspective, the chromatic distortion, the overlay realism, and the emphasis. Finally, the visual summaries lead to values that help to understand the communicative qualities of the experience of space due to their ability to compare main milestones of visual information. And then we have the introduction. The introduction is kind of lengthy, so I have prepared a summary for it. The media often prefers realistic pictures over architectural drawings, especially on social networks like Instagram. But architectural drawings are essential for understanding and expressing architectural ideas. Architectural drawing, especially freehand drawing, helps share architectural and urban concepts. It's a way to record, analyze, and communicate ideas while letting individuals express their own views. This research explores various drawing styles used for architecture and space. Freehand drawing is especially useful for brainstorming and creativity. The study looks at how different techniques like drawing and photography represent space and architecture. It wants to understand how these techniques affect how we see and interact with the built environment. This research is unique because it focuses on how linear perspective drawings communicate messages in architecture, especially in terms of the experience of space. Next, we have the type of research design. So, this research design is a qualitative research design because it shows only a visual presentation and no numerical data. So here we have the first figure, sample of the pairs of images. So these images were from Instagram. And then next we have this, the figure 5 synthesis of the human presence in the image pairs. So they grouped the drawings into categories based on how people were shown. From no people to lots of people, this shows how important people are in the drawings. And then the next figure, synthesis of the distortion of perspective in the image pairs. They divided the drawings into groups to show how much they changed the perspective from none at all to a lot. This measures how much the view was altered. Figure 7, synthesis of the chromatic distortion in the image pairs. So they look at how colors were used in the drawings compared to the photos and group them into categories from ignoring colors to making them very important. And then figure 8, synthesis of the overlay realism in the image pairs. Um, this showed how different elements in the drawings were compared to reality. They categorized them into groups, copying reality, slightly changing it, or changing it a lot. And then figure 9, synthesis of the detail contrast in the image pairs. They look at which parts of the drawings had lots of details and which ones didn't. This divided the drawings into categories depending on what the artist wanted you to notice. And then figure 10, synthesis of the contributions to the experience of space in the image pairs. So by combining all these factors, they sorted the drawings into categories. This showed how the artist wanted you to feel about the space, whether um, yeah, that's it. Uh, let's proceed to the next. The variables. Um, so the variables from the research, I enumerated them all. The human presence, perspective distortion, chromatic distortion, overlay realism, emphasis, and experience of space. So how are the variables used? Human presence. These variables focuses on the inclusion, size, placement, or absence of people in both drawings and photographs. It helps gauge how the presence of human figures affect the perception and liveliness of architectural spaces in visual representations. So that means uh, this variable helps give life to the um, representations. And then we have the distortion of perspective. This variable identifies changes how lines and points are used in drawings and photographs to create a sense of depth. It categorizes the extent of perspective distortion from none to substantial to assess how this change influenced the viewer's perspective. Next is we have chromatic distortion. This variable analyzes how colors are utilized in images, considering factors like size, shape, and position of color masses. It classifies images into categories based on how they handle colors and their emotional and depth related impacts. Next, the overlay realism. It focuses on elements in images that have been either added or modified compared to the reference or actual scene. Images are grouped into categories such as copying reality, slightly altering it, and making significant changes. To understand how these alterations convey specific messages or affect realism. Next is emphasis. This variable examines the distribution of detail and areas with strong contrast in drawings and photographs. It categorizes images into different levels of emphasis, including a balanced distribution of information, context focus, or object focus to ascertain what the artist intends the viewer to notice. And then we have the experience of space. It merges color schemes and contrast adjustments to highlight specific areas and communicate an artist's personal vision of space. This variable aids in categorizing images into levels such as realistic, abstract, or focused on conveying unique aspects of the space's experience. Next, what are the problems addressed? We have the preference for realistic images. The media, including social networks, often prioritize realistic photographs over architectural drawings, potentially overshadowing the value of drawings as a mean of architectural communication. So people nowadays prefer realistic images, uh, forgetting the importance of a detailed architectural drawing. Next is we have importance of architectural drawings. The research underscores the significance of architectural drawings as essential tools for comprehending and expressing architectural ideas. These drawings offer a unique perspective on architectural and urban concepts. So, uh, the study wants to emphasize that there is still significance to the architectural drawings. The next is exploration of drawing techniques. The research explores various drawing styles employed in the realm of architecture and space. It seeks to understand how these drawing techniques, including freehand drawing, contribute to the brainstorming and creative process in architecture. Next is we have comparison of drawing and photography. The study examines the differences in how various techniques such as drawing and photography represent space and architecture. It aims to elucidate how these techniques influence the perception and interaction with the built environment. Focus on linear perspective drawings. This research stands out by concentrating on communicative capabilities of linear perspective drawings in architecture. It places a special emphasis on how these drawings convey messages related to the experience of architectural space. In summary, the research addresses the challenges associated with the dominance of realistic images in the media, emphasizes the value of architectural drawings, particularly freehand drawing, and explores the diverse drawing techniques employed in architecture. Additionally, it delves into how these techniques impact the understanding and interaction with architectural and spatial environments, with a unique focus on linear perspective drawings. Um, Next, we proceed to the Article 2, entitled Natural and Artificial Lighting Analysis in a Classroom of Technical Drawing, Measurements, and HDR Image Use. So, we have here the abstract. Um, for evaluate the quality of illumination, can be used traditional tools of measurement of luminance and illuminance levels point to point, but traditional tools normally are expensive. In this sense, the use of photograph becomes an optional tool to capture the values of luminance and permit the development of quick and cheap studies in relation to traditional of evaluation. The luminic comfort of a technical drawing classroom was analyzed by on-site measurements and by means of HDR or high dynamic range pictures. Initially, room details were drawing. Subsequently were performed measurements of illuminance levels and obtained values comparing with the Brazilian code NBR 15215-4 for different hours. Using a digital lux meter model, DHDL400, at the same time were captured images of the room for different exposures values. Using a reflex camera digital Canon 600D, a wide-angle lens 10 to 18 mm and tripod. Based on results, the lighting in the classroom is adequate only at 12 o'clock, but in this time do not occur use of the environment. The classroom presents glare problems near of the windows. These results indicate the need for changes in internal surfaces, walls and ceiling, light fixtures, repositioning, and the use of strategies that allow a better distribution of lighting. Now we have here the introduction. Again, the introduction is so lengthy, so I have summarized the introduction in simple terms. In many buildings, especially in hot places like Brazil, using artificial lights and air conditioning eats up a lot of electricity. Some of these buildings get too hot due to poor sun protection, so they use artificial lights even when they don't need to. To fix this, designers should plan for natural and artificial lighting from the start to create a comfortable and healthy space. In Brazil, there are standards for how much light you need inside a building, depending on what you're doing there. But it's not just about how much light you have, it's also about how it's used, the color of the light, and how surfaces reflect it. Luminance or brightness and glare, annoying bright spots also matter. New tools like HDR images help study luminance in spaces faster and cheaper than before. HDR images can show us lighting, quality, and quantity. They're promising because they're almost as accurate as expensive meters. Some studies also use HDR images to understand glare and luminance. So besides traditional measurements, HDR images can help us figure out how bright a space is, which is useful because fancy meters can be costly. So first, I'm going to discuss what type of research design this study is. So it's a mix. It's quantitative research design at the same time a qualitative research design. Quantitative research design because the research involves quantitative measurements of illuminance levels at different times using a digital lux meter. It uses quantitative data to compare these measurements with recommended standards and to assess the adequacy of lighting conditions at specific times during the day. These quantitative aspects provides numerical values of illuminance levels. Next, qualitative research design because the research also incorporates a qualitative component through the analysis of high dynamic range, or HDR images. These images are used to visually assess the distribution of luminance in the environment. The false color images generated from the HDR images allow for a qualitative analysis of how lighting is distributed in the space. Qualitative data here involves visual interpretation and analysis. So these are the quantitative data. We have here figure 5, the average luminances, and then showing the luminances level at different times. We have here the highest solar incidence occurs during the morning, where greater luminances were observed near the windows, which gradually decrease as it approaches the entrance door. The greater luminances at 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. did not reach the level suggested by NBR. Next, so these are our qualitative data, the analysis of HDR images. And then we'll proceed to the variables. So the variables are illuminance levels, luminance, high dynamic range or HDR images, reflective properties of surfaces, daylight factor, glare, artificial lighting systems, and energy consumption. How are the variables used? Illuminance levels. Illuminance levels are measured point to point within the classroom using a digital lux meter. These measurements help to determine how much light is available in different areas of the room at various times of the day. By comparing these measurements to established standards, it can be assessed whether the illuminate levels meet the recommended values for the specific activities conducted in the classroom. The goal is to ensure that there is an adequate amount of light for tasks performed in the room. Luminance. It refers to the brightness of surfaces in the classroom. HDR images are captured to visually assess the distribution of luminance throughout the space. This analysis helps identify areas where luminance is too high, potentially leading to glare problems, and areas where the luminance is too low, resulting in insufficient lighting for tasks. Adjustments can be made to improve the balance of luminance in the room. High dynamic range or HDR images. HDR images are used to capture a broad range of luminance values, enabling a comprehensive assessment of lighting conditions. They provide a visual representation of how light is distributed within the space, which is especially valuable for identifying areas with lighting issues. By examining these images, designers and researchers can pinpoint areas where lighting improvements are needed. Reflective properties of surfaces. The reflective properties of surfaces such as walls, ceilings, and floors directly affect how light interacts with and spreads throughout the room. To improve the distribution of light, it's important to consider the reflectance of these surfaces. For example, using matte materials on ceilings can help diffuse light, contributing to more even lighting. Then next we have daylight factor. The daylight factor is calculated to determine the contribution of natural daylight to the overall lighting conditions. By assessing the daylight factor, one can understand how well natural light is utilized in the classroom and whether it complements artificial lighting. If the daylight factor is insufficient, adjustments to the use of natural light may be necessary. Next is glare. Glare problems, particularly near windows, are identified through the analysis of luminance distribution. High luminance areas can cause discomfort and hinder tasks. To address glare, it might be necessary to implement shading solutions, light shelves, or changes in the positioning of workstations. Artificial lighting systems. The study implies that artificial lighting systems in the classroom might need adjustments. To improve the quality of illumination, lighting fixtures can be repositioned or modified, taking into account the distribution of luminance and the activities carried out in the room. Energy consumption. The evaluation of illuminance levels and the use of natural daylight are important in reducing energy consumption. By optimizing the use of natural light, artificial lighting may be required less frequently, leading to energy savings. What are the problems addressed? Energy consumption and overheating. The study highlights the issue of high energy consumption in buildings due to artificial lighting and air conditioning systems. This is particularly relevant in regions with hot climates, such as Brazil, that was mentioned in this study, where improper solar protection can lead to overheating and increased reliance on artificial lighting and cooling systems. The study recognizes the importance of addressing this issue by optimizing lighting and minimizing energy use. Reflective properties of surfaces. The reflective properties of internal surfaces, such as walls, ceilings, and floors, play a crucial role in lighting quality. The study emphasizes the importance of considering these characteristics during the design phase to achieve a comfortable and healthy environment. Inappropriate surface materials can lead to glare or insufficient lighting levels. Recommended illuminance levels. The study refers to the Brazilian standard NBR 8995-1, which provides recommended illuminance level for different type of activities in indoor environments. The study points out that these recommended values must be met to ensure appropriate lighting quality for specific tasks. Glare. Glare caused by excessive luminance or unwanted light in the visual field is identified as a problem in the classroom, especially near windows. Glare can lead to discomfort and hinder tasks. The study highlights the importance of addressing glare issues to improve visual comfort. And then we have the luminance and distribution. Luminance is discussed in relation to the sensation of clarity and visual comfort. The study recognizes that the distribution of different luminance levels in the workplace can affect task visibility and comfort. The study suggests that avoiding extreme differences in luminance is crucial for proper lighting quality. Use of HDR images. The study introduces the use of high dynamic range or HDR images as a tool for assessing lighting conditions in a fast and cost-effective manner compared to traditional methods. HDR images provide a visual representation of luminance distribution and can help identify areas where improvements are needed. Daylighting. The study mentions the importance of natural daylighting in reducing energy consumption and improving human health in buildings. It advocates for using HDR images as a method for professionals and students to study and understand luminances, contrast, and obfuscations from a visual and graphical perspective. And then we have the distribution of illuminance. The results of illuminance measurements and HDR images indicate that lighting distribution in the classroom is not uniform. Some areas receive too much light near the windows, resulting in glare, while other areas have insufficient lighting for tasks. So it is very important to distribute the light uh, equally. In summary, the study addresses the problems related to lighting quality and offers insights into how these issues can be assessed and improved in a technical drawing classroom, emphasizing the importance of considering factors like illuminance, luminance, and glare to create a comfortable and energy efficient environment. I chose this article because uh, lighting is not only crucial to architecture, but also when it comes to drafting. Uh, that's why it's mentioned here that it's important to improve the lighting in a technical drawing classroom. The last article, or the third article, is analysis of interaction function of modern graphic design based on technical aided design. So we have here the abstract. This study employs a comprehensive methodology that involves a thorough review of the existing literature and case studies to understand the current state and trends in modern graphic design. It then delves into technical aided design tools that graphic designers widely use to create interactive designs. The methodology also encompasses empirical analysis that entails conducting surveys and interviews with industry professionals and design experts. It seeks to identify the key elements and techniques that contribute to effective interaction design and discusses the importance of considering the user experience in the design process. Ultimately, this study aims to provide valuable insights into the ever evolving world of graphic design and its intersection with technology. The aim of this article aims to improve knowledge of modern graphic design and propose new ideas for graphic design by exploring the interaction function of modern graphic design based on technical aided design software. evaluation tool. The analysis is assessed using the analysis of variance or ANOVA, multivariable logistic regression, and chi-square test. Results: the interaction of modern graphic design with technically aided design was examined, and it was found to improve modern graphic design significantly. So here's the introduction, the longest introduction. So I've also summarized this introduction. Graphic design has evolved from simple things like posters to complex stuff like mobile apps and 3D animation. It's not just about looking good. It's about it's about how it works and feels for the user. Interactive design focuses on making things that not only look good but also are easy to use. Digital technology and interactive features are widely used in various industries, from electronics to marketing. Graphic design has changed a lot from 2D to 3D, and people now expect more from media. It's been around for centuries, but technology has made it even more versatile, especially in creating visual identities across different media. Designers use various tools and technologies like 3D modeling and virtual reality to create and communicate their ideas. These tools make their work more accurate and efficient. As technical advances, graphic designers need to adapt. They should understand user needs, navigation, and create consistent brand experiences. Animation and motion graphics are also play a big role in engaging users. Technology has become a big part of graphic design. This article looks at how modern graphic design and technology work together. Using software and technical tools, it explores how technology affects design concepts, color, typography, and other elements of graphic design. This research helps understand how technology shapes graphic design and the future of the field. In summary, graphic design is all about creating things that not only look great but also work well for users. Technology plays a big role in making this happen, and designers need to stay up to date with the latest tools and techniques. Next, type of research design. So it's a quantitative research design because it has computations, many computations. It consists of numeric data and graphs. So we have here highlighting the role and influence of graphic designs. So uh, it's in a graphic presentation. Common colors used by graphic designers, and then visual assets of graphic designers. Major organizations that utilize graphic designers, contribution to efficiency and effectiveness, graphic designers' weekly schedule. The data was computed, and these are the results. What are the variables? You have the modern graphic design, technical aided design, interaction function, user experience, design tools, technology advancements, print advertising design, artistic conception, user centered design. How are the variables used? Modern graphic design. How are the variables used? Modern graphic design. This is a broad variable referring to the field of graphic design in contemporary times, encompassing various aspects of visual communication and design processes. Technical aided design. This variable refers to the use of technology and software tools in the graphic design process. It, com- it encompasses the tools, software, and technology that graphic designers use to create their designs. Interaction function. The interaction function of modern graphic designs is a key variable in the article, reflecting how modern graphic design engages with users or audiences. It discusses how design impacts user experience. User experience. This variable is concerned with the quality of interactions between users and graphic design. It explores how the design process affects the experience of users when they interact with designs. Design tools. This variable encompasses various design tools, software applications, and technology that graphic designers use. It includes elements like CAD, 3D modeling, and other digital tools. Technology advancements. This variables addresses the advancement in technology and how they impact graphic design practices. It includes concepts related to 3D printing, virtual reality, and digital media. User-centered design. User-centered design is a variable used to emphasize the importance of considering user needs and experiences in the design process. It highlights the shift toward more user-focused graphic design. Uh, Next, transformation of graphic design. So, no, these are the problems addressed. What are the problems addressed? We have the transformation of graphic design. The article addresses the transformation of graphic design in recent times due to technological advancements. It highlights the evolution of graphic design from traditional forms to more complex and interactive designs, including the use of 3D animation and advanced mobile apps. And then we have the impact of digital media. With the rise of digital platforms, the article highlights how graphic designers need to adapt to create engaging and interactive visual content. It emphasizes the need for graphic designers to integrate coding skills and remain updated with user centered design principles. Then we have the need for skill adaptation. The article addresses the needs for graphic designers to adapt and acquire new skills, particularly in response to rapid technological advancements. It discusses how graphic designers play a crucial role in shaping memorable visual experiences. In summary, the article examines the changing landscape of modern graphic design, the role of technology, the importance of user centered design, and the need for graphic designers to adapt the evolving design practices driven by technological innovations. So that would be all. Thank you, and God bless us all.